What's up, everybody? How we doing? That was a lot more energetic than I thought it was going to be. I'm tired. How are you all doing today? Hopefully, everybody is doing well. For those of you new, my name is Matt. I am paranormal consultant, and this is Empowering My Field, EMP or EMF. See, I don't even know my own show yet. But anyway, so tonight I am rejoined, I guess, reunited with a brother of mine. You've probably seen him in a lot of the chats. He's very supportive of this show, pretty much all my shows. And we've again known each other for at least 3 years now. Actually, I believe Fedora was the one that made the introductions, if I'm not mistaken. And we've had some interesting conversations in the past. I think one of all of our favorites was our 4th of July special, where we just sat around and we had a blast. We had a really good time. But you guys will not be disappointed with this one because he's a brother. He's a brother. He's a good old boy. So please give a very warm welcome to my brother, Dan Cartwright. What's up, brother?
Hey, is this thing on?
I don't know.
Hello? Am I on the air? Hello?
I don't even have a mic. Look at this. It just right into my. Oh, there it is. This isn't magic, folks. I swear. I'm too tired for magic.
Gotta love green screen.
You know what's funny? When I know you remember this. Like when I was doing the paracrew and stuff like that, my drink was always invisible. Nobody knew what it was or anything because it was such good drink.
I remember that.
Now my microphone disappeared. My microphone's literally right here, but I don't know. I don't understand technology.
That's all right. We don't need to see the microphone, and
you don't want to. I got a frog. Hold on. I'll see if I can get this for you guys. I have a frog that I won. Actually, the Wicked Queen and I did one of those little staycations. We went to this hotel in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And they had claw machines. They had a bunch of cool things. And I won a bunch of tickets. And I got this little gel frog. And I was like, you know what? He's going on my microphone. I like it.
There you go.
And, of course, more crap for the studio. But,
speak into the frog.
Hello. Is this thing on? Oh, but anyway, brother, it's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yeah. Yep.
Man.
Well, things are getting busy on both sides. You're with the global ghost hunt and me with the haunted house and a new relationship and everything.
You're not wrong. Well, you still remember how this goes, though. We were talking backstage as BS, and it's like, oh crap, time to start. But of course, always say hi to our lovely audience. And here's another familiar face. Bill's in the room tonight. What's up, Bill? How are you
Hey,
tonight?
Bill.
Good seeing you, brother. So Dan, for some of those who may or may not know who you are, just give a little background of who you are. Who's Dan?
Well, I am part of a paranormal community called Wisconsin Area Paranormal Society. So, WAPS for short.
Not
And
confused with Wasp.
yep. And I also go from hunting the real ghosts to fake ones, where I run a haunted attraction called Warriors Haunted Asylum. I've got a great crew that surrounds me, helps me with all this, and we have fun just jumping out and scaring people and see kind of what reactions we can get. I mean, reactions that we can get. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you folks right now, I mean, I don't do haunted houses, to be honest with you. Like, I would rather go out and investigate. Like, I want to see dead. I even said this at work today. I prefer dead people over the living, just because they're more trusting. I can trust them more. But I just don't do haunted houses. I don't know if it's the paranormal background that I have, or what, but I can see the actors. And
You're used to being in the dark.
exactly. So it kind of takes away from it.
See,
And
one thing I always tell people, because I run into a lot of people like that. Oh, things like that don't scare me. Okay, cool. Bring people with you that do scare, and you have fun watching them get scared.
which
And
I have done.
I mean, I'll go to other haunted houses, ones that are open during times that I'm not, especially this time of year. There are ones that do like a halfway to Halloween, so they're open in spring. And, I don't get scared at these things. I can always tell, especially from doing this, that, oh, somebody's going to come out from here or there, or that's drop window, whatever. But I also will appreciate the work that they put into it, the scenery, the acting, so I enjoy that. Like I said, I don't get scared, but I enjoy all that other stuff. And I try to take people that do get scared and have fun watching them.
Always fun. And speaking of interesting people, there's Mr. himself, Brian John Laverty. What's up, brother? How are you
Hey,
doing?
Brian, how's it going?
Yeah, but it's funny. Like I said, I'm not really big into them, but I know there's a couple around here that aren't too bad. But I will say I've seen Warriors Haunted. I've seen your setup. I've seen what you've got going on. I follow on Facebook, all that good stuff, and I really like what you have. I think it's very unique. Um, I know we've spoken about this in the past. What makes yours different? Like, give people a little teaser.
And one of it is, there's a lot of haunted houses you go into, and the actors just kind of jump out with rah, just try to, just nothing but jump scares.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll just sit there and look at you and be creepy and, not much interaction with you at all. My actors, I try to get them to interact with the crowd. Make them go sit down in a chair or ask them why they're late for, if it's a doctor scene, why are they late for their appointment? Or, we've got an electric chair that, we've got rigged up that'll vibrate and lights go on, and, we'll make people sit in that. And, so it's almost like it's interactive. I've had people tell me that they've gone to Orlando Horror Nights. It's put on by Universal Studios. $75 a person to get in. They say decorations are off the hook. Well, it's nothing for them to spend $1 million on a room,
Not wrong.
But, and I've had people come here and say they got more scared at this one because of the actors.
And you know what? It takes a lot, and you have to have a passion for it, and that's what this show's about. And some people do think about the jump scares. They think about just running out, screaming, But to actually act and be an actor, and I know Brian's in the room, he'll tell you, it takes dedication, it takes work, it takes practice, and I'm sure you guys do like rehearsals or run throughs.
Yeah, a little bit. And a lot of it depends on the actor, and sometimes it's just the quick wit of an actor. And some people, you all right, you call them a name, and all of a sudden they got that good snappy comeback for you. That's what I try to get here for actors, the ones that are quick witted. Give them just like a brief thing, like why you late for your appointment, right? And depending on what the customers will say, then they'll just feed off of that.
Makes sense.
I had a morgue scene, and my actor, when the group came into the room, said something about he liked liver, ooh, fresh liver. And the one guy goes, "Oh, you wouldn't want mine. I'm drunk at the moment." My actor, right off the top of his head, just went, "Ooh, I like pickled liver."
I'm thinking marinated, but yeah, no, pickled, that's even better.
Yep. And and even the guy wasn't scared, but the guy started laughing and had a good time with it.
Well,
So you may not always get scared here, but we're going to try and entertain at the same time.
Oh, of course.
I mean, granted that, there are times that, I get new actors that like halfway through the season, or, because other actors, job situation change or something came up, family, so all of a sudden I got to throw a new actor in the room. And, it sometimes takes them a little bit, to get the feel of the room, what to say, what not to say. And
of course, I mean, that's anywhere.
yeah.
I have an idea for you, and I know if Brian's still watching anytime, and I know you know this, whenever I say I have an idea, good or bad things may happen. But here's a little something for you for the whole medical office, the doctor's office. Here's what would scare the living hell out of me. You go into a doctor's room, and he's got a glove that goes all the way up past the elbow. No words needed. You see that, something's happening. So your location though, your haunted asylum is actually a little bit different, because you actually have a haunted activity there. You have actual paranormal activity there as well, correct?
Correct. Matter of fact, one of my actresses last year, it was one of our blackout nights, where we turn all the lights out, we hand your group one glow stick to find your way through. But my actors, sit in the dark all night long. So, they can pretty much almost see the group coming, and she was in between two groups, and, she had long hair, and she said she's standing in the middle of the room, and she said her hair got pulled up like this.
No kidding.
Yep. That was just this past fall.
Wow. I have another idea now. Do a paranormal investigation with only glow sticks and a phone.
There you go.
That's an idea. I like that. Maybe I'll do that for the October Global Ghost Hunt.
Especially the green glow sticks, then it looks like you're running night vision.
This is true. I know in the military we've had a lot of fun with glow sticks. We used to break them and get all that chemical all over us. Our hands would glow, or our faces would glow. It was just. So what other reports have happened? Because I know we've spoken in the past that you've had a lot of different things happen in the asylum.
There was the one year, down by my fire pit where everybody comes out by, and I had a real talkative lady that worked down there. She loved talking with the people and everything, and she'd ask, well, did you see anything in there? And they'd tell what they saw and all that, and one customer came out and made the comment, "Yeah, that place is actually haunted." And evidently she was, I can't remember now, was it empath or psychic? One of the two. And described in one of the rooms a guy dressed like a cowboy and a little boy. Well, my girl down by the fire, thought that was interesting, talked to her for a little bit, and come by the end of the night, kind of forgotten about it. The next weekend, somebody else came through and said that they used to live here because there's actually living quarters in the building. And she described one end of the building, which happened to be the same as the weekend before, a man dressed like a cowboy and a little boy. Right, 2 separate weekends, same descriptions, same room. And even the actress that worked in that room that year, it was set up as like a doll room.
Yeah.
And, she'd kind of chased the group out of her room. She came back, and where the groups had come in, she said there was a little kid standing there. She thought the little kid got left behind.
Like, actually saw him standing there?
Yeah.
No kidding.
And went to go over by him, and he disappeared. In that same room.
Okay. Now, have you ever had like a team come in and investigate it and check it out?
Our group did when I first came in here, but also on that night we had a couple of new people, so there was like some training involved, and but didn't really catch much. The weird thing is, on numerous occasions I've tried filming on my own, doing EVPs on my own. I got had a couple of cameras, security cameras set up. Can't seem to catch it, any of it, until the stuff is off. So it's like they know. And I don't know if because of previous people that have lived here in the past, that I don't know, that they tried so much that it annoyed the ghosts so much,
Yeah, sorry, I have to laugh. I hear your phone going off, and you can actually see it vibrate.
Yeah. But yeah, I just declined it. Hi, Pam.
Oh, there's Pam. Hello.
And I don't know if anybody's ever reported this before, but I'm actually living here now because there is living quarters. I've got a full bathroom, full kitchen, bedroom, the whole 9 yards. I was laying here one night, and it sounded like from the floor above me, somebody was snoring. I was out here all alone.
Are you sure Al didn't crash the party?
Well, I went and grabbed a flashlight. I went up there. That was actually my first thought, that somebody broke in, big spooky building, broke in, somebody decided to get out of the weather and crash for the night. So I went looking, and, and I tried to be quiet as I did it, so I wouldn't spook them off, so I could catch them. Nothing.
So where did the name come from? The Warriors Haunted Asylum.
Some of it's kind of stupid. I'm a Gen X, so I'm that older generation that the CB radio used to be a big thing back in my teens and early 20s. And my CB handle was Road Warrior.
Okay.
So I just took the Warrior, and the place kind of reminded me of a little bit of a mental hospital. So I'm Warriors Haunted Asylum.
I like it. It's got a great ring to it. Now, do you have merch and everything else?
Yes, but unfortunately, I don't have the online store set up yet. We've got shirts like this available here, and hoodies.
Oh, I'm all about hoodies.
Hats, lanyards, and going to be expanding more and more in the future, and slowly working on an online store so I can eventually I'll be able to say, buy, merch link in bio, and
well, we can actually talk after the show. I can show you and tell you how I got my merch store up and running, and it is online, and it's fairly inexpensive, to believe it or not. And again, if you guys are interested, just a quick little side note, paraconsultantstore.com. You can go there to get my new merch. We have new designs out. They just dropped last week, so go check them out. I know the Wicked Queen has her eye on a couple of pieces, and I probably will too, because it's me. I don't know. I design shirts and stuff that I like. So
When I do get my merch store open, there's going to be some things that you're going to just have to come here to buy, like these shirts, because I get them done by a local, shop here in town, so I try to deal with some of the local people.
that
But
makes sense.
I'm also designing some stuff online that I've already got designed up and sitting in the waiting. I just got to get the store open, and just recently ended up getting the domain warriorshaunted asylum.com. So we're going to be getting a new website up and going. We had the one on Google, and now Google went and changed everything, and it
Sounds accurate.
kind of ridiculous. But
now I know you're on Facebook. Are you guys on YouTube or any other social media?
I've got a couple small videos from years ago out on YouTube. There's a tour. It was called Road Tripping with Yogi, a YouTuber that he came through and did a daytime walkthrough, and then came through at night and filmed on TikTok a little bit. But my main thing's been Facebook.
Fair enough. Well, guys, definitely go give Warriors Haunted Asylum a check and give them a follow. And if you can get up to the area, go check it out. I'm still planning my trip out there. I still am. I know we were talking about it years back, but I'm still planning on coming out. Obviously for the asylum, I want to check that out. I want to hang out, support you and what you're doing. I know we talked about investigating the asylum itself. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Maybe we could do something for Global Ghost Home. We could set something up. But there's something else that you and I have in common, and this is why we were almost really late because we were talking about it. And that is one of our biggest passions, and that's fishing.
Yes.
You like fishing. So the first question any fisherman has to ask is, what do you go for? What is your favorite fish to fish for?
I like the bass fish.
You're a bass?
Yep.
Large, small?
Largemouth. And of course, last summer I must have ran into a good school of crappies and had fun with a bunch of 10-inch crappies, like one right after the other. That was fun.
I'm a trout man. I don't like, we have bass here. We have small, large, but I like my trout. I'm a huge trout guy. There's something about them that are just, you have to outthink them. It's almost like a chess game.
Oh.
That just, to me, it's a lot of fun, and you get that right trout on, and it's a fight. And I'm sorry, I know I'll get castrated, but I think trout, especially browns and brooks, will fight better than a bass. But that's me.
We don't have a whole lot of trout fishing in Wisconsin here, unless you go over to Lake Michigan, and then you get those big trout.
Yeah, you get the steelheads.
Yep.
The Wicked Queen and I went to Erie a couple years back, and I wanted to get up and get some steelhead. I was hoping that they was running, but creek was still a little low, so they had a little just small mouse running around. And we stayed at this campground that was supposed to be 4 steelheads, and no steelheads. But I wanted to go out to Lake Erie and rent a canoe, or a kayak, and I started thinking about it. I was like, maybe that won't be the best idea. I hook up with a size steelhead, I'm gone.
Right? Oh, come on! I've seen people on YouTube, catching sharks and out of kayaks.
I love when they catch a grouper. When they catch a nice big grouper on a kayak, you just watch them just spinning. But
and if they take off on a run, it's like you're in a speedboat.
Pretty much. Try to get that in the boat. Try to keep that. You just tie it. Like, how do you do that? Like, really?
He's basically got to just try and wear the fish down.
Just set him on your lap and try to paddle in.
It's something like that. You're out just for the fun of it. You're not going to try and get it back to shore.
Oh, no. I'm joking, of course, folks. That is definitely a catch and release. It's like, catch it, take a couple of pictures, and let it go.
Right?
It could be state record or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just take a picture and get it out of there.
Yep.
So are you? So I'm assuming since you're a bass guy, you're a spinning reel, or are you open face?
Just like old closed face Zebcos. I actually really like those old Zebcos. I don't know why.
I I could never get
The open
around.
faces always, I don't know. I always end up tangling them up, and I got a rat's nest, and it just then it's no fun.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I don't know. Like for me, the closed spaces, I just can't. I can fish them, but just the open base spinning reel is just my one of my favorites. I mean, obviously, I'm a fly fisherman. I love fly fishing, and I was telling you, um, even backstage. Now I can't find it. There it is. Like I got my float doctor with me. Like it's just a paste that I put on my flies, and I have my flies somewhere in the studio. But everybody always makes fun of me with my spinning reel because you know how usually they have the bell facing down, and you go. I flip mine up, so my bell's facing up. I don't know why I do that, but I just do it. So you like the Zebcos, but what about for the rod itself? Are you an ugly stick man?
Uh, I've got ugly stick, and man, I can't even remember the name of some of the other ones. It's just I've had them for so long now that it, about a 6 foot rod,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not the guy that goes out and buys big expensive equipment.
No.
I'll find stuff at rummage sales for $5-10 and end up using it for years.
I'm the same way. I go to Walmart or we have a place down here called Dunham's. They're always running really good sales, and it's just a little sporting good outlet store. Like I don't know if you guys have Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cheaper version of Dick's. It's just kind of it's the Walmart of Dick's, and
Okay.
it's really cheap, really good quality stuff. But you're right. Like I don't understand. Like these people go out and buy a couple $100 worth of equipment. I'll just go to Walmart or Dunham's and spend 20-30 bucks, and I'll have more fun with it. And if I lose it, I lose it.
I mean, I've seen guys go spend $500-600 just on the reel itself.
Oh yeah.
And then spend almost that much on the rod. And it's like, and I've gone out fishing with some of these people and caught just as much fish as them.
See, my favorite is when they spend that much money and they don't catch a damn thing.
Yeah.
You're sitting there with like one of those little kid toy ones, just bringing them in, and they're sitting there with all this equipment, nothing.
Now, if they're out fishing on Lake Michigan, for the big kings and all that kind of thing out there, I can understand having, the more expensive, heavier duty equipment.
Yeah.
But, I go to small little lakes around here, and, when you're catching, 14 to 20-inch bass, you don't need big, huge, equipment for that.
Big deep sea fish.
Right.
Yeah. I had a question for you. Okay. So what about your bait? I know a lot of bass, they go for either the lives or they get little minnows and shiners and stuff like that. What's your bait of choice?
Actually, like a rubber night crawler.
Really?
Yep.
And you do just fine with just a regular jig setup, or?
It's basically just a hook and a rubber worm. And, it's real light in the water, so you can, get up on top of the weeds,
Mhm.
bring it off the edge of the weeds, slowly sink down, and, you give it a little jerk, and, it gives kind of a more natural action to it. And, depending on the day, I'll range in colors anywhere from a brown to a black, or a black and yellow combination seems to work really good because,
Yeah.
whether
See,
they want a dark one or a bright one, that one's got both.
fair enough. See, I've always had. I don't know if you've ever used them. I've had a lot of success with a spinner called MEPS.
Oh, yep. I've
I bass. especially smallmouth, just seem to love those maps, and
Yeah.
it's the really bright, vibrant ones that they just go nuts for.
Oh yeah. Well, the more flashy it is, the more they think it's a minnow out in the water. And
Well, even like they have one that was like orange, blue, green with a bunch of glitter shit all over it. But the smallmouth just seem to just destroy that thing.
it probably reminds them of like a sunfish going out there.
That's true. Even trout will go after it too. But no, I like my spinners. I like my spinners. I like any type of my lures, like the poppers and stuff like that. That's my thing.
Hey, there was one time in my younger days, so this is eons ago, I was fishing for carp.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, carp put up a good fight, because I mean, it was nothing to catch one that was 2 feet long, and
Yep.
but we would use corn,
Oh
on a
yeah.
big hook. Well, there was one day I was reeling in, and all of a sudden, as I'm reeling in, I get a hit and pull in a 28-inch northern.
Oh,
Just saw the flashy yellow of the corn and went after it.
jeez. See, we do that around here too. We use corn. I've seen people use hot dogs,
Yep.
bread. But usually the corn, we get a bunch of sunfish like bluegills, pert, just small little guys, little panfish. But I've never heard of a big guy like that. I mean, yeah, I guess I could see a carp going after a piece of corn.
Well, see, I use like, it's a bigger hook, like I'll
Yeah.
use for my rubber night crawlers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, because I've already done that, take the rubber night crawler off, throw corn on, and go carp fishing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I've got a row of corn 1.5 to 2 inches long out there.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not like one little kernel of corn. It's
A couple.
right. It might
Yeah.
be 8 or 9 pieces of corn on there.
That's fair. What about so I know what I was going to ask you. So over your way, Lake Michigan, I know we were talking about steelheads. We were talking about steelhead trout and stuff like that. You guys get salmon that far?
Yeah, there's salmon on Lake Michigan.
What kind of salmon do you guys get?
See, I don't fish it much. I'm not a big fan of that big lake. And for one, the boats that I have access to are way too small for that lake.
Oh, come on, Dan. That'd be fun.
Yeah, right. The 14 little foot aluminum boat, that wouldn't last real long. But and not to mention too that you got to get extra fishing stamps and to Lake Michigan fish. And
yeah, Erie's the same way. Erie's see, I understand it, but I don't understand it. My thing is if I'm buying a fishing license and I get my trout stamp, I get my other stuff with it, I get all the bells and whistles, I should be able to go wherever I want. Well, minus private property. But I mean, to sit there and go to Lake Erie and spend another like $30-$40. I mean, I don't know how Michigan is, but Erie is like you're spending. You might as well just buy a whole nother license.
Right.
And it's like
sometimes it's more expensive.
Yeah, and it's like, what's the point? And then, like I said, I wanted to rent a kayak. That was like $70-$80 for I think 3 hours. I'm like, I'll just go buy one.
And to top it off, I get the Wisconsin fishing license, but if I come out to go visit you, I got to go get a special license to go fishing just for a couple days out in Pennsylvania if I wanted,
Now, I will say this in PA, and this is for anybody who likes fishing. If you do come to Pennsylvania and you want to do some fishing as a visitor, they're not that expensive. I think it's only like $15-$20. And
that's all it is for our license for the whole season.
Oh shit! I just looked. No lie, I just looked the other day. And it was almost like $45 for trout stamp because it's separate here in Pennsylvania. You have to buy your fishing license, and then if you want to get your trout stamp, you have to get your trout stamp.
Yep, that's separate here too.
Oh, it's a fish. It's a freaking fish.
Right. Well, and the worst part is right behind my haunt here, there's a little stream that I've heard rumor there's trout in there.
You ever seen any?
There are times I see fish swimming, but they're all
Little guys.
like little guys.
Yeah.
And I keep telling myself one of these days I'm just going to go put on an old pair of shoes, grab my pole, and go walk it and start fishing and see what I can find. And
do you fly fish at all, or?
No, not really. I grew up. My dad was a bass fisher and panfish, and so that's how I grew up. But I've toyed around with a fly rod here and there.
Mm-hmm.
It'd take me a few minutes, but I can kind of get the hang of it.
See, this might be a little trick for you, and this is something I use whenever I go to a new spot and I can't get my fly rod in, because obviously I use a 5/6 8-foot fly rod, and it's just a little Walmart cheapy brand one. It's nothing real special. The only thing I spent a good money on was the reel. I think I spent like $60 on the reel, and it's worth it. It was at Cabela's, so still $60 is the cheaper end. But what I like to do is I take some of my flies, especially my streamers, and I will actually tie them to my spinning reel, and I'll just kind of toss them out. No weight, no splits, no nothing. Just tie it right to the line, or just get one of the little barrels, put on the end of it, the barrel clips, get one of those, tie that on, and I just let it go, and I see what it does. And that's how I test the waters out of it, especially if I can't get that 8-foot rod, in where I'm at.
Yeah. I've already used, my regular rod, kind of like a fly rod. Like if I'm trying to get it up under a tree or up under a dock. And
well, that's actually why we were even saying, backstage, that's why I carry my little dock rod with me, especially if I'm flying. I got my vest, and I have like that little pole, Velcro thingy you have, the pole holder. I'll sit there and I'll have just this little 3-foot dock rod just right to my chest, and I'll just carry that guy around.
The girlfriend just walked in.
Hello.
And one of these days might have to get her and your other half together.
Hey,
and they can talk crystals and stuff like that.
Well, I know the Wicked Queen, shameless plug. The Wicked Queen is planning on bringing back the Creepy Cult, her show. It will be starting back up. She's not sure when. She is, just like me, starting a brand new schedule at work. So she wants to get used to that and kind of get the feel for it. And then she did say she will be coming back, and you will be able to see her on YouTube, on Facebook, under Creepy Cult. You could also catch her just like here at Parapost Network Central on Facebook as well. But yeah, she is coming back. She's definitely coming back, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for her to come back.
Say hi.
Thousands of people are watching you. At some point. What's up, James? How are you tonight?
Hey, James.
And then we have Super Frank. I like that name. What's up, Frank?
You remind me of Super Freak.
I was thinking that too.
Super Freak.
Super Frank joining us from the Twitch side of it. What's up? How you doing?
I'm sorry if that made you upset, Super Frank. Yeah, but it's what I thought of, and my mind works weird when it comes to stuff like that.
This one, he was.
Or Super Freak.
Yeah, Super Freak. He said, "No, it's all good." All right, that's
cool.
Good. So we're for those of you joining, this is Dan. He's from Warriors Haunted Asylum, and we're just hanging out, having some fun. And right now we're talking fishing.
Yeah, we went from paranormal to haunted attraction to fishing and
whatever else.
Right.
But no, it's funny because you go out fishing, and you have a game plan. I don't know if you're like this, but I've got a bunch of different areas that I go to. I have a couple of different spots here in Pennsylvania that I love to go to. Some I keep very secret, very close. You know, I don't let tell just anybody.
Yeah.
But I go out with a game plan. I have fun. I'm ready to go. I get there and nothing. And I think that's just like the paranormal. I think that's why I like fishing and I like the paranormal, because you come up with a game plan, just like you were talking about the asylum. You go with a plan. You're all excited for it. You're ready to catch fish or capture the signs of the paranormal. Nothing happens.
With fishing, sometimes it doesn't bother me if they're not biting. Because it's still better than a good day at work kind of thing.
I was just going to say the same thing. And to me, the paranormal is the same way. A bad day of fishing or a bad night of investigating is still better than a great day at work.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I don't know. Depending on the paranormal night, I mean, sometimes that can feel like a full-time job. By the time you set up, take down, review evidence, the fun part's the investigation itself.
Well, I will say this. I don't know if you've caught it. I know you've kind of popped in on the Global Ghost Hunt the past couple events, but Mr. Brian John Laverty and I, we were always backstage for the Global Ghost Hunt. Almost every investigation, one of us is there, if not both of us. And we figured out that you can get a paranormal hangover on this side of it just by sitting in studio, watching the investigators doing their thing and watching the video. You can still get a paranormal hangover.
Well, think about it. All right, you get, say, a 4-camera security system, set it up and record. Mm-hmm. And all right, you've got it in a living room because they say they see stuff in the rocking chair in that room. Mm-hmm. Now you're investigating for, say, 6 hours.
Yep.
You go back to watch that footage. It's 6 hours. You might as well be staring at a picture.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And actually, Danny, who was our camera person for the Global Ghost Hunt this past event, I was telling her about the investigation side of it. And I said, it's funny. I've always done it in threes. So if, like you said, you have one camera facing a living room that runs for 6 hours, that's not just 6 hours of evidence review. That's 18.
Right.
You're watching it 3 times. And
yep.
If you've got 8 cameras, do the math on that one. And then you've got the audio side of it. If you've got 12 digital recorders, you got to watch all them too.
Yep.
Or not watch, but listen to them. You got to listen to them. So there's another 18 hours per, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but it can get.
And not to mention, if you hear something, now go to other cameras at the same timestamp to see if something was, the group was in the room right next door and you were bleeding over.
Yup. Or
to make sure it wasn't paranormal.
Car goes by, dog starts barking, kids across the street are yelling.
Yep.
So Frank is asking, what type of spirits / activities do you tend to encounter most in the U.S.? Cool. Dan, go ahead. What do you usually encounter over your way?
A lot of times out here it'd be like more shadow figures, noises, voices. Thankfully I haven't encountered anything violent yet, or threatening, or not trying to harm us or anything like that. So
that's good. Well, I mean, Dan, I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. I've done West Coast, East Coast, middle of the U.S. I've seen everything from full-bodied apparitions, partial-bodied apparitions, shadow, black mass, disembodied voices. I've been bitten, scratched, pushed. That's always fun. I ran into 3 of the D words. I don't like to only get into that, but um, yeah, I residual, intelligent, you name it. I've seen pretty much. I don't want to say everything, but a good amount. I've witnessed a fair amount, just depending on where I'm at, and it all depends on the location, though. I think, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I
Depends.
haven't been in any like real violent location. Well, been in one location where there was a lot of violence. The Villisca Axburger House out in Iowa.
Yes, I remember you telling me about that,
But nothing bad happened to any of us while we were out there.
which is good.
So, but that place has probably been investigated so much that I think just a few weeks before we were out there, Zach was out there.
Sorry, it's natural. It's a just reaction.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like Pennhurst. We went last year to Pennhurst, and by the way, if you ever get a chance to go to Pennhurst to investigate or even just go check it out and tour, do it. I 100% endorse it. To do it. The beautiful, beautiful location, and all the employees there and all the staff are amazing, absolutely amazing. Very knowledgeable, very understanding, very respectful, and they know their shit. That's something that I have the utmost respect for is they know what they are talking about. And
There's been a couple times I've thought about, when I get done with my season here, and I get everything buttoned up for winter and all that.
Yeah.
I've thought about going out to like Pennhurst because they have a haunted attraction there.
They do.
And I was going to apply to work for the haunted attraction so I could experience Pennhurst at the same time.
I will tell you from experience, dress warm. We went in March, and I thought in March in Pennsylvania can go one or two ways. It's either extremely cold or it's pretty mild. And it was supposed to be, I think, like 70 that day. So we were expecting, about mid 50s throughout the night. Nope, it was around freezing the entire night, but
and those old concrete buildings.
Oh,
over winter, the concrete and that all gets so cold. It's like my basement here too. It's the old stone wall foundation.
Yeah.
And I don't heat the basement whatsoever. So all that concrete and everything gets so cold. I mean, there have been times July and it's really nice and cool in my basement yet.
It's the same way here in the studio. But it is absolutely a stunning location. But places like Pennhurst, they have this mentality and the reputation to be like big, bad, scary, like what you see on TV. It's not, and I love that. I absolutely love that. Like to me, the spirits there are just misunderstood. They're just misunderstood. They've got some kind of mental defect. I assume it would translate over into the paranormal side, to the spirit world. So the biting, the yelling, the different things that people are experiencing, maybe that's how they communicate. And that's what the Wicked Queen and I did. We completely we went in there. Well, I went in there like, let's go, let's have some fun. Let's throw me against the wall, scratch me, bite me, push me, do whatever you want to me. And I was like, I'm thinking I can take it. But as soon as I heard what was being said, and these historians and these people, the tour guides, they were telling us about all this stuff, but my mentality changed. I went, okay, hold on, I'm not gonna go in like that. I'm gonna go in with a little more subtle, gentler, and we had a great time, absolutely great time. So if you get a chance to do it,
definitely want to someday.
And obviously I'm not too far, so if it's still early enough, we can do some fishing.
There you go. There you
go. So I have to ask you this, and we all as fishermen have it. What's been your experience, the best experience that you've had being out fishing? Like, what's that day to remember, that iconic moment?
I don't know. I've had quite a few, where, the fishing was just good. And, No, I don't know if I've got like a most favorite.
Okay. So, what about some of the experiences? I know you said you had a couple. Any that you want to share? Or
Um, it was with my second wife and her son. We were out fishing,
Mhm.
and he was 4 or 5 years old using a Scooby Doo pole. Right, so he's fishing for bluegills, and he was more towards the front of the boat by her, and all of a sudden he's like, "Mom!" I look over, the Scooby Doo pole is bent over the side of the boat, and it's going like her direction, so it's taking him that way. And I look over, and here he had gotten a little bluegill on, but a big northern come up and nailed the bluegill. I mean, this northern had to be 30 inches plus. I mean, it,
Ooh.
it was a big northern. And then he ended up letting go, and the bluegill was all mangled and all that. And so I'm trying everything in my tackle box to try and catch them after that. But I mean, Scooby Doo poles don't bend easy,
No.
and this thing was bent over the side of the
Oh
boat.
gosh.
I was actually surprised he was able to hold on to it.
See, minus my daughter catching her first fish, which we did get mounted. I think for me, one of my most memorable was the one day I was fly fishing. I was working at this car wash, and I just got off work, and it was the first early day I've had in a long time, and absolutely beautiful weather. And I want to take full advantage of this. Like I always during when I have my license, my stuff is always in the car, always. And I went out, got in the middle of this creek, and absolutely beautiful scenery, the Appalachian Mountains surrounding, right in the middle, nobody around me. And it was a popular spot, so I was expecting people. No one's there. And I'm just like, this couldn't get any better.
It,
So I'm facing downstream, and all of a sudden from behind me, I hear what sounds like this train coming. I'm like, what is that? Now, mind you, I had my cigarettes, I had my phone, beautiful weather, so nothing was covered. I turn around and I see a wall of white coming at me. And I just went, ah, shit. And downpour. Severe, just boom, hit just like that. And I'll be damned if I didn't stay out there, though. Until the lightning started. Once the lightning started, I was like, yep, go back to the car. I'm
yeah,
going to wait this out.
I've already been out on the lake, and you could see it raining on one side of the lake, and it's nice and calm on the side of the lake that we were on. And that's kind of neat. And sometimes there are times out in the boat, and if you got on the right lake and the water's clear, and sometimes I catch myself just kind of looking off over the side of the boat, just watching the fish swim around. It's like looking at a big fish tank.
Yep. And we have a decent sized lake here in central Pennsylvania um, that my wife and I took the kayaks out the one day, and it was a little windy, and I was just like, I was teetering. I was like, do I really want to put the boat in the water? Do I really want to get out there with the wind starting to pick up? And it was one of those random days where her and I were both off, and I was like, you know what? I talked to her about it. I said, are you comfortable going out with it being kind of choppy? And she goes, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I was like, okay. So we get in the kayak, we get about maybe 40, 50 yards off the dock, and started white capping.
Ooh.
We raced. We were racing each other. It was great. We were launching the front of the nose. It was great. It was a lot of fun, but it killed my back.
Um, Al used to have a boat that, we just go out on Lake Winnebago, which is a good size lake in Wisconsin here, just below Green Bay. So right between me and Green Bay, there's this big, huge lake, but it runs like really shallow. You know, a lot of it's like 6 feet deep, you know, with some 20-foot deep pockets.
Yeah.
And if a storm starts to brew up, oh, watch out. The waves get wicked out there. But we used to run up the lake, up to Oshkosh, and then we'd run up the river up to a little town called Fremont. But up that river, too, is shallow. And once in a while, when the winds would just hit just right, you know, the boat motor in between the waves would be hitting bottom.
Oh,
yeah.
I bet that made a fun sound.
Oh, yeah. It was for a little while there, man, that was not fun. But on a calm day, you know, wide open, great. But
Jonathan Myers from Crossover Paranormal Society joining us. What's up, brother?
Hello.
Another one, guys, you definitely want to go check out. Jonathan goes live all the time. He's a lot of fun to listen to. He's one of the only people I know that will do his podcast at 5 a.m. going to work.
Who's watching at 5 a.m?
I don't know. Probably Raymond. Raymond Newsom. He's always watching. But,
I mean, there are times I'm just getting to bed at that time, but
I'm getting off work. Well, not anymore. Tomorrow I get off at 7:30. But no, Jonathan's funny. I love watching him. It's when he's going to work, coming from work, or if he's going out on an investigation or just wanting to chat, he's always just going live, and he's great. He's great to listen to. Always a good time. But so what other things? What are things about you, Dan, that makes Dan Dan?
Oh, I don't know. The list might be easier of what doesn't make me.
Anything that
I've got ADHD, so you know I've got little interest in tons of different things. And
well, let me ask you this: we'll go back to the asylum. What made you want to start that?
My love of going to haunted houses, and at one point, I had was working for somebody else, and actually I ended up running his haunted corn maze. And next thing I know, I had people say, "Hey, I've got this building. Hey, I've got this stuff," and opened up my own.
Very nice. Now, is that what you do full time? Like
pretty much that, and scrapping and that kind of thing. And hey, is it possible to put me on pause for a few moments here?
Well, I mean, if you want, we're almost at an hour. We can even.
Yeah, let's wrap her up, and
we can do a part 2.
Sounds like a plan.
So, all right, folks. Oh, I didn't want to get rid of that. So, for those who want to find you, Dan, where can they find you at, brother?
The best place right now is on Facebook, Warriors Haunted Asylum. You know, it's probably the best place at the moment to get a hold of me.
All right, sounds good. And if you guys are interested in being a guest on the show, again, it doesn't have to be paranormal based. All you have to do is right down below, email me at empoweringmyfieldguest@gmail.com. And just let me know. Let me know you want to come on. So, Dan, brother, thank you so much.
All right, thanks for the opportunity.
Anytime. I'll hang out for you so I can tell you about the merch. So I'll just wait for you to come back. But I appreciate you taking time out with me, brother, and hanging out and having some fun.
All right, thanks.
So there, I'll just put you backstage then, brother. So you can do what you do. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you're enjoying this new show, Empowering My Field. Learn a little bit more about us and everybody in the community that isn't just paranormal based. We have fun. We talk about everything and anything. I do know I have a very special guest coming up in hopefully the next show. I'm waiting for him to get back with me on it. But you don't want to miss the show. And I will be probably doing some gaming here probably next week or somewhere. I don't know. You guys know me by now. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I guess there's just one more thing left for me to say. Y'all have yourselves a great rest of your night. Have fun. Stay safe. But as always, guys, happy hauntings.